When your husband wants to leave you, it's extremely painful because you still love him. You were thinking you'd be together for a lifetime. You've been counting on it. You've shared your life up to this point. Maybe you have children together, and you can't imagine why in the world doesn't he want to be with me anymore? Why? Have I done something wrong? Can I not compete, compare? I mean, what's going on here? Well, in this short video, I certainly can't tell you all the things that your husband may be thinking. But I can tell you that there's hope, even if he's adamant that he wants to leave you. Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Beam with MH International. I've been working with marriages for more than a quarter of a century, and the vast majority of those marriages have been marriages in crisis, in major trouble. We've had a pretty good success rate, but it's not 100%. I can't tell you I'll give you the magic words or the magic formula, and if you just do what I say, everything's going to be hunky-dory from now on, because I won't lie to you. But I can give you some suggestions that if you do these things, you dramatically increase the likelihood of saving your marriage, putting it back together, making it good again, as we've been able to help thousands to do. Now, again, I can't explain it all in a very few minutes right here, but let me give you 3 very important things to not do and 3 very important things that you should do if indeed you still love your husband and you want to try to put this marriage back together. Okay, here's the first thing not to do. Don't panic. Even if he looks at you and says, I don't want to be with you anymore, I'm not in love with you anymore, I want to be with somebody else, I want to be someplace else, and says those things, and I know they hurt tremendously to hear. Try to think of it this way. Well, that's the way he feels today. It's not necessarily the way he's going to feel next month, next quarter, next year. In other words, the fact that he feels that now and is saying that to you now is what he believes to be his reality, but he's not thinking beyond right now. Now, he may think he is. He may be thinking he's planning his whole future ahead and it's not going to involve you. But trust me, if he's telling you this, it's in all likelihood because of what he feels at the moment. And one thing about life is always true, and that's this: emotions change. So please don't panic. He fell in love with you once. He can fall in love with you again, even if he thinks that's impossible, and even if you think that's impossible. So don't panic. Calm down. There's a way out of this. Not a guaranteed way, but a pretty sure way, and we'll help you follow that path. We call it the love path, and we'll show you how to help him develop love for you again as you strengthen your love for him. Again, I'm not guaranteeing a 100% because people make their own decisions. You do, as does your husband. But I'm telling you, this system has been very powerful and worked for so many thousands over the years. Now, here's the second thing not to do. Don't focus on saving the relationship. I know that sounds contradictory, doesn't it? What? Don't focus on saving the relationship? That's why I actually turned this video on. I want to know how to do that. But you see, desperate thoughts often lead to desperate actions. And when you're focused on trying to save the marriage, you'll wind up making some unwise decisions. You're going to do some things because the emotions are pushing you that are not smart things to do. You're going to leave off doing some things you should do because your emotions are going in the other direction. In other words, if you focus on saving the marriage, you're going to be on a tightrope that you can't walk. And it'll be extremely frustrating if you try. You'll be constantly falling off one side or the other and getting angry with yourself, thinking, I can't do this. So please stop focusing on saving the marriage. And while you're focusing on the saving the marriage, if you do that, which I'm telling you, you really shouldn't, that's when you're more likely to hear and heed advice from people who will give you very, very bad advice. So be wary of people telling you what to do and how to do it and those kinds of things. But if you're so focused on saving the marriage, you'll tend to strike at every lure. You'll tend to buy everything that you hear. And this person will be telling you this, and somebody will be trying to sell you that, and then your family member will tell you this. And talk about a tightrope you can't walk. And at the same time, quite a bit of that counsel will be very, very bad. Not because they're necessarily bad people. But there are some bad people, and they will give you bad advice. But the rest of them not bad people. It's just that they love you so much that they're hurt at this person who's hurt you, and their advice tends not to work very well. They either base it on their own experiences or the experiences other people have told them about, and that's not broad enough. You need advice that's much broader and wider than the experience of a person or a person's friend. And the third thing is this: Don't focus on whatever's pulling your spouse away from you. Now, one thing we are well known for at MH International is we talk about a thing called pushes and a thing called pulls. And we talk about the fact that if you're going to put a relationship back together, you need to evaluate anything that you do, or even things that you have done that you've stopped doing. Evaluate these things that have pushed your spouse away from you. We talk about pushes that you actually should do. There are some pushes you must not stop. And there are other pushes that you need to stop as quick and as best you can. So we talk about the fact that we don't want you pushing your spouse away, which is more likely if you panic, more likely if you're listening to other people who don't really understand what they're talking about. And so reduce your pushes. But if there is some pull out there already pulling your spouse away, it could be another person. Could be a fantasy or a dream, some goal that they're trying to reach. There could be any number of things pulling them away from you. And if you start thinking, I've got to fight that. My husband, for example, is in love with that other woman, so she's the problem. And if she just went away, everything would be okay. Wrong. That is not the right answer. Trust me, I've been doing this for more than a quarter of a century. That's not the right answer. You see, you should not be trying to think about her, if there's a her, or whatever it might be that's pulling him away from you, whatever that might be. Is it an addiction? Is it some, like I said earlier, some fantasy that he's chasing? Whatever it might be. Don't think about that because you don't compete with that. You don't have to compete with that. You can't even compete with that. If you're going to think of competition at all, you're in competition with yourself to become the best you that you can possibly be. So did you hear those three don'ts? Don't panic. Don't focus on saving the relationship. And don't focus on the pull that's leading your spouse away from you. So what should you be doing then? Okay. Focus on your pulls. If you're thinking, what do you mean? It's not enough just to reduce your pushes. And by the way, I still want you to hear very clearly, there are some pushes you should not stop. They're actually essential pushes to do. I just don't have time to explain that in this short video. But as you decrease your pushes, you're going to be increasing your pulls. Not trying to compete with this over here. Forget him, her, it, whatever it might be. You just focus on your own pulls. Because every pull also has pushes involved in it. So whatever this thing is over here that might look so wonderful to your husband right now, won't always. It's going to have pushes. She's going to have pushes, whatever. It's going to have pushes down the line. And as you start increasing your pulls, decreasing your pushes and increasing your pulls, you make it much more likely that your spouse can come back to you. I realize I'm just touching the hem of the garment on this, but you understand this is a short video. We actually have a course out there where I explain all this in great, great detail. I'll tell you about it in a couple of minutes if you're interested in it. But as you increase your pulls, what you're going to be doing is this. You're going to increase a thing we call PIES, P-I-E-S, physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, by becoming the best you can do physically, the best you can be physically at your age and situation in life. You don't need plastic surgery. Intellectually, learning about things that are of interest to your husband so that you can have conversations with him where you can actually enjoy and communicate with each other. And then, and not fighting about what's going on here, but of something that's of interest to him. Emotional, where you learn not only how to reduce the pushes of doing those things that evoke emotions within him that he does not enjoy feeling, but learning how to do things that evoke emotions within him that he enjoys feeling, which becomes a great big strong pull back toward you. And even spiritual, which has to do with your beliefs and values. You can actually go to piesuniversity.com. I believe I said that right. If not, it'll be correct on your screen here. piesuniversity.com. And you can find all kinds of information there about this if you wish to help you with your pies, because those become the pulls. And so you focus on your pulls, not that pull, but your pull. And then you try to be as understanding and accepting as you can possibly be. You're saying, what do you mean? Try to understand what your husband's feeling. Try to understand what he thinks it is that he's going after. And then accept what he feels, even if you don't like it. Now, you don't have to accept his behavior. But if you can accept him, which means who he is, what he thinks, what he feels, then that's a very, very powerful pull. It's part of what we call the love path. No, I can't explain that in great detail to you here. I just don't have time. But hopefully you're getting the point that you can do this. You understand the pies And then try to be as understanding and accepting as possible, because those are things that pull him back toward you. And then the second thing is be patient. Do be patient. That's really important. You say, why? It's unlikely that what's occurring happened overnight. You didn't get into this situation overnight, even if you think you did because you just found out about it. Whatever it is, in all likelihood, it's been going on for a while. Therefore, don't try to fix it overnight. Remember we said earlier, don't focus on trying to fix the problem. That's not going to be a good thing. You focus on doing what you need to do, but you've got to be patient because it takes a while to do this. 3 of the main ingredients of love between a husband and wife have to do with intimacy, passion, and commitment. Passion can ebb and flow pretty rapidly. It can come rapidly and it can go away rapidly. Intimacy develops slowly. Intimacy having to do with openness and transparency and vulnerability, being understood as you are, understanding the person as he or she is. That develops slowly. It ends slowly. And then if it redevelops, it has to redevelop slowly. Commitment develops slowly. And if you redevelop it, you have to develop it slowly. As I said earlier, there's no magic bullet. So be patient, understanding it can be done. And then finally, educate yourself. You say, what do you mean? There are all kinds of things about relationships that you think you know, some of which might be correct, some of which may be incorrect, and a lot of which you haven't actually heard before. Oh, it's not like rocket science. It's the kind of thing that when we teach people about it, as soon as they hear it, they go, that makes sense. I guess a part of me kind of already knew that, but now I get it. I have a vocabulary for it. I can comprehend it. Oh, I can see how to use it in relationships. And so if you're going to be educated, don't try to be educated by everybody, because there's so many contradictory ideas and thoughts and principles out there that you'll drive yourself crazy if you try to check all the different resources. Sometimes people, for example, will come to us and want to work with one of our coaches, but also at the same time work with somebody else. And we say, actually, you should pick one or the other, either our coach or the other person. Don't be pulled apart. If you're going to educate yourself, choose one resource at a time and work with that resource. Now, we would love to help educate you. You can find a lot of videos on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/marriagehelper, all one long word, marriage helper, marriage helper, there are hundreds of videos there that are free. And when you're there, and you may be there right now watching this, be sure you subscribe, because that helps us help other people. So please help us that way, because the more you subscribe, the more visibility we have. The more visibility we have, the more people we can help. So you can help us if you just subscribe right now. And we'd appreciate you doing that very much. And so we have free things here. On our website, marriagehelper.com, we have a ton of free stuff there. We have an online group, if you can get into it. It stays pretty full. It's limited to 5,500 people, and it stays pretty full. But you can find our Marriage Helper. It's actually a group called Save My Marriage, and it's sponsored by Marriage Helper. You can find that, and that's free help there as well. We want to do all those things for you. But if you need more than that, we want to help you with that. If you call the number on the screen right now, you can talk to one of our client representatives. Now, they're not counselors. They're not therapists. They're not going to take a half hour or hour to try to help you through your problem. But they'll take 10 or 15 minutes, and they'll listen and understand, and then they'll direct you to the best resource we have for you. And so give them a call. They don't pressure anybody. You give them a call, and they'll help you find the best resource that we have. And if we don't have a resource for you, they'll tell you that. And so you can get that by calling here. Now, you can also find our online course, our Save My Marriage course. It also has a special group in Facebook that you'd be invited to if you get into that course. And it has 12 different videos, about a half hour each, about 6 hours worth of information there, and a workbook to work through, and transcripts and all kinds of things in that Save My Marriage course that you can ask your client representative about when you call. And then we have another thing. It's a workshop. If you're ready and you're willing to make this kind of commitment, we have what we call a solo spouse workshop. In other words, my spouse won't come right now, but I want the advantage of your workshop, which is, I understand, is the creme de la creme of all the things you do. It is. And we have a version of that for you as a solo spouse, where you can learn amazing things, which will equip you in much better ways to help your spouse come back and put this marriage back together. Now, that is 3 full days, okay? The online course, Save My Marriage, is over 6 hours. So understand there's a lot more in that course than we can do there. Whatever the case is, did you get those 3 don'ts and 3 do's? Don't panic. Don't focus on saving the relationship. Don't focus on the pull that's pulling your spouse away from you. Do focus on your pulls. Do focus on being patient. Do focus on educating yourself. There's hope. We've seen it happen so many times. We'd love to help you.